everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 27th, 2023. Man, being a soap opera kid is the worst! I mean, Connor is depressed, and Aria might have a hearing impairment. Wow, that's real fun. When you're a soap opera kid, you're either never around or you have to have some major problem that's designed solely to cause drama for the parents. It's amazing that anyone ever survives childhood on a soap opera. The people that come in as not children, that come into the soap world as adults, they're, well, relatively fine, but soap children, it's a real trauma. So Mariah and Tessa were having a lovely day in the park, and I thought, oh, well, this should be uplifting. It was getting a little stormy. There was a crash of heat lightning, and I thought, oh, maybe there'll be a funny little scene where they're trying to get Aria out of the rain and all, blah, blah, comedy. But no, heat lightning, a big crash of heat lightning happened twice, and suddenly Mariah and Tessa looked at each other and realized that Aria didn't wake up from her nap. In fact, she didn't react at all. In fact, the big lightning crash happened twice, and she didn't react at all. So they nudged her just to make sure she was still moving, and she did wake up, but it was like Aria couldn't hear the really loud sounds that were going on around her. So Mariah and Tessa took Aria to the coffee house and talked to Sharon about their concerns, and Tessa said, yeah, there's some times where she doesn't respond to her name, but we thought maybe that was just a developmental milestone and we weren't going to get all overly concerned about it. They were clearly trying not to be overprotective parents, but still the concern was there, and so Sharon took charge. Sharon got on the phone and called the pediatrician and set up an appointment with them, or with a pediatrician, which I thought was sort of unbelievable that Sharon would go off in the corner and make the whole appointment without consulting them and without them knowing. And oh wow, Sharon saved the day. Sharon knows all. But Mariah and Tessa did take Aria to the pediatrician appointment, and it sounds like the pediatrician confirmed that there was a problem but did not have any specifics about it and referred them to a specialist. And in the previews for next week, we're in the specialist office, and the specialist is saying that Aria has a hearing condition and that it is treatable, but it is not curable. So that's a real fun summer bummer right there. And then we have Connor. Connor is going to be switching to a school for depressed kids. That sounds like a lot of fun. Oh boy, the school for depressed kids. What a blast. Who wouldn't want to go to the school for depressed kids? Actually, I heard that the school for depressed kids is a party school. Woo! The school for depressed kids gets the best drugs, you know? I'm just imagining the school of zombie children. Ah! So ridiculous. But I guess now we know how Y&R is going to be handling Melissa Claire Egan's maternity leave. Because when you're the mother of a depressed kid, you can just up and move anytime to help the kids switch schools. I mean, come on, how practical is that? The truth is, the school for depressed kids is also a school for depressed rich kids. Ah well, whatever Connor needs, I support Connor getting. Billy's losing his girlfriend, though. If he's losing his girlfriend, does that also mean he's going to be losing his touchstone? Because Billy did admit to Chelsea that he's been tempted to go crooked. And now, if Chelsea's not there to be the one to remind him to stay on the straight and narrow path, I wonder if he's going to maybe find himself at a crossroads wondering what to do. I mean, he's probably so tired of Jack and Ashley playing these parlor games, all the while he's been holding down the fort at Jabot, and maybe he's going to want to make a power move of his own, possibly with an unlikely partnership with Adam, because Adam offered to give Billy the blackmail evidence that he has against Tucker in exchange for an unnamed favor. I think that's really intriguing. A surprise Billy-Adam alliance? What could Billy even have that Adam wants? I don't know. And even though Billy did pass that information along to Jack, he's under no obligation to include Jack in the future if he decides he wants to snatch that apple on his own and go rogue. Yeah, I think Billy is definitely going to be the new source of all the drama for the Abbott family moving forward, especially if Ashley truly decides to end her feud with Diane after Diane saves Ashley's life next week. What? We got to put a poll on that, you guys, at yrchat.com. Right now, would you rather see Ashley and Diane be friends? Or do you kind of like them still being enemies? If you had to choose friends or enemies for Ashley and Diane, no in between, go to yrchat.com and let me know which one you would pick. I mean, I think this is seriously the best preview snippet that we've ever gotten, in a scene on a Friday show, because I really feel on pins and needles waiting to see that scene. Ashley must be I don't know, choking on a chicken bone or something at society. And then Diane must come in and give her the Heimlich maneuver. I don't know, but I love it. I love the concept. All we saw was Ashley barely catching her breath and looking at Diane and saying, "Did you just save my life?" Oh my gosh. This has got to be the sign of a turning point for that relationship, because there's no way that Ashley can turn around now and say, "Get out of my face." In other off-screen pregnancy news, Crystal Khalil is glowing, and you cannot hide that pregnancy glow behind a big bag. That's something you can't film around. You can't film around the glow. And this is her second child, by the way. I did have to look that up after last week's chat. So congratulations to her. I think Y&R did a really good job of filming that scene between Lily and Heather, with Lily just kind of having her arms crossed in front of her with a coffee cup, or her legs crossed. That just felt like a very natural and modern way to handle the pregnancy, instead of always using the big bag. I mean, she had that too, but sometimes the big bag is distracting, because like once you see it, you can't unsee it. But I thought that was a very naturally shot scene. But what was up with Heather? Heather had a conversation with Daniel admitting that she's been avoiding him, and she seemed really uncomfortable around him, and when Lily asked her to sit down for a chat. So have things gone awry with Heather's Portuguese boyfriend, and now she's finding herself thinking about her ex-husband again? Maybe she's seeing how well Daniel is doing and how happy he is, and maybe that makes Heather jealous, and maybe that makes Heather want him back? You know who would make a great Genoa City chief of police? The only police. Chance. Gee, it works. Apparently, this town needs to have a hot cop, and he also needs to have absolute power. No more pussyfooting around, having to call Paul for backup. This is Chance's town now. I mean, he is the law of this town now. Presumably. He's thinking about it. Because previously it seemed like Y&R was trying to set Chance up for a career change. Maybe try to make him a computer whiz. And I was thinking that, well, they were going to put him at the family company, the Chancellor Winters. He could be the Chancellor and Chancellor Winters. But I'm thinking maybe we're just not going to be seeing as much of Chancellor Winters for the rest of the year. And really, what's the point of even being at Chancellor Winters if everybody works from home or does conference calls? I mean, what's the point of being there if you can't get trapped in a conversation with Esther? Oh! This is the news of the week for me. I mean, right here, this was the best part of the week. Look out, Crimson Lights customers. It is 7 a.m. on a Monday. You just want to come in and get your morning coffee. But no, now you're going to be forced to have a conversation with the nice new chipper manager, Aunt Esther, great Aunt Esther. She has probably got some tips for you about something. Maybe a political opinion or two. Ooh, this is going to be great. Truly, truly great. Honestly, when that first started unfolding and Sharon was saying that she wasn't going to be around at Crimson Lights as much anymore and she needed a manager, I'm not going to lie, I immediately started getting uptight. I like Sharon being the coffee house owner. I like seeing Sharon there. I've become very accustomed to it, and she has become very great at it. I mean, Sharon is always there. She's in addition to the scenes, she's a friendly face that you see right when you walk through the door. She's become the face of Crimson Lights. And I was immediately uptight thinking that I was going to lose that. But then I pulled myself back and I thought, you know what? It probably is time for Sharon to evolve. And I need to accept this. You know, Sharon is going to need to stay fresh. The Crimson Lights Coffee House doctor thing had become stale. And I think Sharon is going to need to be freed up in order to have some new stories and some new possibilities. And I want that for Sharon more than anything. And plus, I actually really think that Esther becoming the replacement manager is a fantastic idea the more that I let it soak in. Because she is also a familiar, friendly face that you're going to see when you walk through the door. But she's not involved in any major plots, you know, so it's not as sticky. Esther can just hand you your drink with a funny line and she can Esther it up and then scoot off screen, just like in the old days, really. So in a lot of ways, I kind of think maybe it works a lot better the more that I think about it. Sharon had become way too involved in everyone's life and business. And now it's time for her to become more involved in her own business. Yes, Nate, I forgive you. Now let's go away for the weekend and forget all about whatever it was that made us stop having sex for that couple of days. Give me this pleasure, won't you? God, did you see how good he looked with just that top couple buttons undone on his shirt? It was just very like, ooh, just a couple of buttons undone. Shirtless gives you it all, but just that couple of little bits of buttons. And then he had some kind of like, I don't know, lion's tooth, tiger's tooth, saber tooth necklace hanging around his neck. I don't know. Take me on safari, baby. I don't know what it was, but I'm ready for it. Give me the tooth, Nate. Oh. Yeah, Victor wants to use Nate as a weapon, and so do I. Victor called Nate out to the ranch to get his genius opinion on SNA media. And Nate said, well, it stinks. The tech is outdated. The company has no cohesion. Nick, Sharon, and Adam don't know what they're doing. So why don't you just fold it into Newman Media, just like Adam asked you to do, just like I advised you to do. And Victor was very impressed because that's exactly what Victor did. He took Nate's advice. I don't know how exactly Nate got so much cachet so quickly. Well, actually, no, I do know. I do know how he rose to the top. Nate's big rise to the top. I remember it quite clearly. And I think we all know the answer. So now, I mean, Victor's totally changed directions. It's a different direction it was Augustus, now it's SNA. It's a different direction every week. And now Adam and Audra are going to be fighting for that top spot at the combined company. But Nick and Sharon are thinking they want to just defect away from Newman altogether. And Sally is actually thinking about Adam's job offer and considering jumping in on this whole mess. I feel kind of sad that Kyle and Summer are over. I don't know. I found myself mustering up a little bit of hope when he showed up at her hotel room door that maybe they could work things out. She had told him that she is ready for a divorce since it's clear that he does not want to fix things. He's not going to put in any effort. So she said, let's go ahead and get the divorce. But clearly that's a lie. She says she's ready for a divorce. She's not ready for it. She's just trying to end the stalemate and also probably do what's best for her family. Nick tried to talk Kyle into giving the relationship one last shot, which I found to be a little presumptuous. But I guess then again, Nick has known Kyle for a long time, and that's his son-in-law, and I suppose he wanted to be able to at least try to find a way to fix it for both of them, for his son-in-law and his daughter. But Kyle said no. He was able to talk through his feelings with Nick, and then he said no. He said Summer is so much more like Phyllis than I ever thought was possible, and now there's just simply no going back on that. I can't unsee what I've seen. I mean, I could try to repair it temporarily, but I'd always be waiting for the other shoe to drop, and eventually it would. I really liked that line. I liked that assessment a lot because it's true in soaps. You know, in every relationship, we're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and eventually it does. So Kyle and Summer ended up agreeing to the divorce. And when Audra texted him later that night for a hookup, I was really glad that he turned her down because, I mean, he slipped out of the marriage with Summer and into the bed with Audra so darn effortlessly that I needed to see Kyle take that moment's pause in order for me to continue to be invested in his character. But, you know, I don't know. I think if he thinks that getting involved with Audra is going to be any less dramatic, he's absolutely fooling himself. Look at what she's already got him pulled into. Victoria and Kyle had a meeting this week, and she very much took the pleasure of informing Kyle about all the details around Adam's blackmail of Audra, what exactly Audra had done. And he didn't know the details, but he did know the overall, of course, and he acted surprised with Victoria, and he played it very well. And then, you know, he went back to Audra anyway. He didn't let the new information stop him from making out with Audra later. You know, I keep thinking I really am just so surprised with how much I like Audra, because I did not like her at first. I didn't not like her, but I didn't feel connected to her right away. She wasn't an immediate sell for me. But she's really crept up on me and become a delicious little part of my week. I like her very much. And I also just like how much Nikki hates her. I just think that Nikki needs that. I mean, Nikki was so catty toward Audra when she showed up at the ranch on Friday trying to fight for her job. And I just keep thinking, well, if Nikki hates her that much, then she must be good, right? I mean, if Nikki hates her that much, then she must be intimidated by her. And I think that Nikki needs that on some level. I think Nikki needs someone to push her buttons, and it drives Nikki crazy that Victor is kind of fallen for it. I mean, Audra bats Victor her big, beautiful brown eyes and gives him his 14.4 profit increases for the quarter, and Victor is like, ooh, baby, my baby. Where's Norman Rockwell when you need him? Certainly not on soap operas, Kyle. That was last week's Who Said It quote. Where's Norman Rockwell when you need him? Kyle was saying that to Diane about his not-so-ideal family. I think he was at the wedding telling her that right before he decided to ditch the wedding. You guys are too good. You're all guessing this so quickly. So congratulations, Angie, Nina D, Daisy, Hannah, Erica, Tina Lynn, Henry, Tony, Victoria, Lara, Brittany, Ron, Kamna, Marla, and good old Marky. Wow. Let's see if you can get this nice little cliche of a line. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Who said that old cliche? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. If you get it right, then I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. How about a couple of comments now, starting with Ellen, who says, everybody drink! Daniel just isn't that person anymore. Does Y&R know what they're doing every time they say that? I mean, do they know that's a thing? That everyone says that? I mean, it's like, it's like every other week that somebody says that line. It's just so crazy. And I mean, Daniel said it to the T. It is like a drinking game. We'd all be drunk. Oh, yeah. Daniel isn't that person anymore. He's a changed man, and maybe that's why Heather wants him so bad. Gary says, every woman fan favorite Val Bloom is giving me the big yawn while I anxiously await the return of Tara Locke. Yeah, I don't know why Y&R hasn't brought old Tara back. Heather, though, I totally see what you're saying, Gary. I mean, she's not an exciting character. She hasn't been in the past, but I am holding out a little bit of hope that Y&R might be able to make her exciting now. She seemed very uncomfortable Maybe she's finding herself at a crossroads, and maybe we'll start to see some different behaviors out of her. I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of vamps. We have a lot of kooky characters. Maybe that's what it is just Heather fits the bill for sort of average girl, but it's also doesn't end up being particularly exciting, you know? I mean, relatable girl who doesn't tend to be very exciting. Elena kind of falls into that category too. Like Elena, I would totally want to be friends with Elena, but she isn't particularly exciting to watch on screen. Well, at least not right now, but we'll get to that later. Gary also says, well, Michael Milor has had it with being the dunce on this show, and he has stepped up his cool executive vibe as witnessed in his smooth cat and mouse corporate meeting with turning on the charm Victoria Newman. Sitting in the Newman chair all confident as an equal and low-key, dude. Yeah, let's give Kyle some props there. That was a good scene. He looked good. He looked confident. He looked cool and slick. I keep thinking, by the way, that Sally and Kyle would make a slick couple. I don't know what it is about them. They're sort of similarly aged. I think they could have some chemistry after Audra and Adam hook up, that is. After Audra breaks up with Kyle to hook up with Adam, then Kyle could hook up with Sally after she breaks up with Nick to hook up with Adam. Kamna says, Nick, your grandpa days are around the corner, and you want to dangle a baby carrot in front of Sally? Make it stop. Yeah, I mean, is there anybody who's still really feeling Sally and Nick? Can I hear some support from some Sally and Nick people this week? Because I don't hear it at all. It just feels like everyone is not feeling Sally and Nick, and yet they persist. They persist in driving the fans crazy, which is kind of it's not in a fun way. It doesn't feel like it's driving us crazy in a fun way. Victoria says, Sally, when Nick walked in, you seem to feel very guilty. What does that say? Are your boundaries with Adam and Nick clear? I think it's time you dig deep. Why are you feeling guilty? Yes, Victoria, when Sally went over to talk to Adam about the job, but yet didn't really seem to discuss any of the details up into including what the position would even be. And then Nick walked in and found her there, which, by the way, is the second time in 2 weeks. Yeah, Sally, you might want to ask yourself what you're really doing there. Connie says, I'm thinking that a Nate and Audra coupling has a natural flow and would be an interesting plot twist. Yeah, Connie, I mean, maybe, see, if that's the thing, I would be okay with just seeing Nate turn around and, like, straight up, you know, going to town with Audra. I mean, because at least then some of the fears about him would appear justified to me. To me, Nate is just not getting dangerous out of him. But Dolores says, Nate, oh, Nate, your peacock feathers are showing as you arrogantly strut around feeling like you've one-upped Adam and Victor, and that Victor prizes your opinion more than his son's. The windows of opportunity are getting wider and wider with the powers that be, father and daughter. Be careful, for your ambitious nature could lead to a big downfall. Yeah, I was surprised because about the fact that this set up a Nate and Adam rivalry, which is kind of interesting. I would have thought maybe Adam might have been happy that he got the Newman Media merger that he was looking for, but Adam immediately sniffed it out as, wait a minute, Nate's got too much power. Nate's got the power that I want. And so I think Adam's going to have to remove Nate's power in order to claim the power that he wants, or that's how he sees it anyway. Victoria says, Adam, why can't you be thrilled to have such impressive offices on its own? Why is your first thought to be sure that Victor knows how well you're doing? Let it go. You'll be the better for it. I was so excited when we saw him going through those blueprints, and we got that really cool shot from up on the staircase and him having all of the blueprints, and then he was looking at the blueprints, looking like he was ready to do some world domination. I just want to see The Office. We've heard about The Office. It's gone anywhere. Like, Nick and Sharon picked a downtown quaint brick wall kind of place, but now Adam was looking at something that was a skyscraper right there across from Newman. I don't know, everything with Augustus and SNA and Newman Media, it's all become so murky, and it changes every single week, and all this business is happening, and there's nowhere to do the business, and they've lost me. They lost me weeks ago. Kamna says, could Victor's grand plan be as simple as getting Adam and Nick to band together against him and Nate so that they become closer? Oh boy, that is a very Victor thing to do, isn't it? Just like trying to create this alliance with Nate to make Adam and Nick bond closer together to come against him, rather than just promoting bonding in a more direct and healthy fashion. Victor takes the roundabout way of going at it. And if that is his plan, it doesn't seem to be working, because Nick and Adam are just going at it. Still working together, but not. I mean, why do they even want to? Why is Nick fighting so hard to work at this company if he's not happy with how it's going? Nick and Sharon are definitely not happy with Adam making a unilateral decision, and yet they have certainly both, or at least Sharon specifically, has made unilateral decisions on hiring and whatever else. So yeah, it's not working. Daisy says, I'm almost at a point where I'd be okay with Nate taking over Newman Enterprises. The amount of time that has been spent on Nate and Audra's chronic betrayal is becoming too much. They're both snakes in the grass who tried to take over Chancellor Winters, and they now act like it was somebody else's fault. If Victor believes in Nate and Audra, then he should just give them a company. Nikki knows who they are and questions why Victor's acting as if they're moldable to his expertise. But all of that may be a ruse, as his intent might be more directed towards his sons, and which one will do whatever it takes to preserve Newman Enterprises the way Victor hopes it will be. Or just give it to Nate, and Victor and Nikki can buy a yacht and then sail away from their bickering adult children. Sometimes I think Victor likes some bickering. Like that's what his goal is. Oh yeah, what a mess. New topic. Connie says, so am I the only one that was so excited to have an adorable baby on set, only now to be worried that baby Aria is deaf? And Sherrod says, no, you're not alone. I love to see that adorable baby too, but I could do without this storyline. It's going nowhere. Just like the issue with Tessa's voice last year. Can the woman sing? It's been over a year and still no follow-up. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that they never followed up on Tessa's voice nodules. Nothing. Have said nothing. She mentioned her career at Jabot or Marchetti, or I don't even know. You barely see her. I don't know. Was she modeling for Jabot or Marchetti? You barely ever see her at that job, and that's the job they mention. I mean, she's a superstar singer, and they don't follow up on the voice. That's crazy. And yeah, I was thinking when we saw Mariah and Tessa and the baby that it was going to be a little bit more quirky, and now it seems like we're just going to be dealing with a health crisis. I do kind of wonder, though, if it could possibly be leading to maybe like a Mariah, Tessa, Elena triangle or something, because, well, Elena is just flapping in the wind. I mean, there's nothing going on with her. She had that one moment, or she was insisting to Mariah and Tessa that she's let go of the whole Nate thing. But then we see her walk through the revolving doors on Friday. She sees Nate and Audra talking together, and she seems to be thinking about it internally. So is Elena saying one thing, but then actually planning some kind of revenge on Nate? Or is Elena really letting it go and possibly moving into a direction with a triangle with Mariah and Tessa? We saw, like, on the halfway credits of the show this week, Elena showed up with a beautiful picture, and I saw her face. And I immediately thought, oh yeah, Elena. It's a picture of Elena, but Elena's never in any scenes. And even when she is, it always seems just like a taste, just on the tip of your tongue. You're getting a little Elena, but not enough. So I'm not sure where Y&R is going with Elena, and if she is going to connect in more meaningfully with the Mariah Tessa story. Yeah, the other story that is just not connecting for me is anything and everything having to do with SNA. I asked you guys last week if you liked the name SNA Media. 56% of you said no, you don't like the name, but 44% of you liking the switch from Augustus. And to me, this is so representative because it's already an obsolete question. So last week at this time, we're like, oh, we have a new company and a new name. And now it seems like that's completely gone if Victor's going to fold it into Newman Media. It's just the fact that this is moving so fast and nothing happening still seems so indicative of the story overall. I mean, it seems like the names and the players at the companies change twice a week, but there's no real story behind it. Nothing ever happens, and I've been saying that for over a month now. Blah. Well, on a happier topic, Diana says, Esther, working at the coffee house is a good way to have Esther interacting with the other characters. It's not possible with her working at Chancellor Winters. She's a legacy character who could use some more airtime on the show. Yes, I agree. I mean, I think it gives us that legacy every time we walk into the coffee house. And she said, the coffee, you know, I'm not going to redecorate. I liked that Chloe was being supportive with Esther this week. We know Chloe has been through some periods where she was very resentful toward her mom, and specifically her mom being, you know, in a service profession. But Chloe was saying, hey, you want me to redecorate the place? And Esther acknowledged, no, Crimson Lights itself is an institution. And in a way, Esther is her own institution. And so it's kind of a perfect marriage. But I love this point from Gary, who says, Esther's mindless idolatry of Catherine Chancellor is crazy. Kay, who barked at her from morning till night. Yeah, you know, it is funny how much she just admired Catherine, as you say, almost mindlessly. It's like Catherine was so irritated with Esther all the time, and Esther just loved her. I guess that's what it must have been like to be in Catherine's presence. Catherine was such a presence, such a grande dame, that Esther was starstruck with her, and it still is to this day. Oh, last comment. Sharon W. says, on next week's previews, Diane saves Ashley's life. Looks like they'll be besties now. Going out to lunch, going shopping, taking in a late night movie. It leaves the two new husbands to ask each other, have you seen my wife? They won't be able to pry them apart. I love this notion. And yes, Ashley had her epiphany this week where she thought she was going to let it all go, and then she said, no, I can't let my family's company go, and I can't let Diane win. So Ashley having that epiphany this week, and then next week Diane saving Ashley's life. I mean, it feels like maybe the tides actually are turning, and who knows, maybe Ashley and Diane might start working together. Can you even imagine it? Ashley and Diane, besties forever hereafter. Packing up a basket for a friendship picnic right in the middle of Chancellor Park. Yes, that is a fun idea, and I like it very much. Oh, well, let me know your ideas. What are you liking very much? What are you not liking very much? Go to yrchat.com to leave your comments for the week, and I will be back next week to give you mine. I love you guys. I hope you have a good one. Bye.